For more Royals talk, it's now time for tonight's Roundtable, where I'm joined by Breland and Jared. All right, guys, we reached the final month of Major League Baseball's 2020 season, and while the Royals could still, turn it around and make a late run into the playoffs, being optimistic, of course, Kansas City is clearly now on the outside looking in. So looking ahead at September, what are you two looking to see, and how have your expectations maybe molded, evolved, changed a little bit, Jared?
Yeah, obviously they're still technically in the race. If they rattle off a win streak over a couple weeks, yeah, they're back in it because the 2020 baseball season is crazy. But for me, it's no longer about the wins as a team. It's about the individual victories. That's the most important thing, because if you think, just because the Royals probably aren't going to make the playoffs, if you think these games no longer matter, my friend, you are wrong. There is so much that matters over these last month or so, because think about where the Royals are at as an organization. They saw that this year probably not ready to win, but they're close. And the good news is their future is so much brighter than this year because they have so many top prospects that aren't here yet. They're pushing on the door, not just for the end of this year, but next year and the year after that. What does that mean for this month? Well, this is the last opportunity for some of these guys to really show what they have. We're talking about bubble guys like Jacob Junis. He's been solid this year, but next year when more of those arms are ready, Jacob Junis might not have a spot in this rotation. So all of his starts the rest of this year are very important to see whether or not he's a starter or a bullpen guy. Then you look in the lineup. Adalberto Mondesi has been terrible this year, and Bobby Witt Jr. is still just 20 years old, but he is knocking on that door. So can Mondesi finish the year strong and give the team hope that, hey, next year he can be a solid player? Look at Ryan McBroom, Ryan O'Hearn. There are other talented guys that are pushing for these spots that aren't here yet, but they're coming. So this is the last chance. Can McBroom continue to rake the rest of the year? Even, Alex Gordon, it's his last year. This could be his last month as a Royal. If he struggles, this is probably it. But if he has a strong September, well, maybe he wants to come back for one more year. There are so many storylines that personally are going to be, you look at each game, okay, how did Chris Bubich do? Brady Singer, young guys, that's what Royals fans need to look for. And guess what? If they lose, okay, they're probably not going to make the playoffs anyway, but it's almost a good day if Chris Bubich goes 7 innings, but you blow it in the 8th or 9th with a guy that maybe isn't in your future. Finding out these roles, seeing what you have in Kyle Zimmer, Josh Stallman, so many question marks that still can be answered over the next month, even if the games truly don't mean that much for 2020. We're looking ahead at 2021. It's still every game matters.
Yeah, that's so true. Breland, how have your expectations changed over this last month or so?
Yeah, I agree with Jared. We always knew coming into this, and it was no secret, right? Dayton Moore was very, very honest about this whole thing, that maybe 2021, 2022 was more of the target. We knew that coming in, even before we knew everything about the shortened season and this and that and the other thing that went on in terms of COVID. We always knew that was more realistic of a target date for them to actually be a successful team in terms of postseason and whatnot. But Jared's right. This is a time where you really need to start looking at what you have for the future. And I think that's evident. I think they absolutely are already doing that. I mean, look what they most recently did, sending Rosenthal to get pieces. Olivares and a player to be named later. That's very obviously, that guy, Olivares, has not really played very much in the majors. He came from Double-A baseball, was an all-star in that league, but still was Double-A. Padres moved him up July 25th, so there's very little experience there. That was a move for the future, and I think the Royals know that they're going to need to start testing these pieces out to see where everything's going to fit in terms of 2021 and beyond.
Yeah, you guys both make very, very good points. My expectations have changed from the standpoint that I thought this season was either going to be, you're going to deal with a whole lot of blowouts, or you're going to deal with a whole lot of good wins, and you're going to see a lot from this very young team. But what we've seen over the past couple of weeks is that these games come down to the wire, and the Royals have not been able to finish. And that's ultimately, I think, what has changed from my perspective, is that you need these young guys to be able to finish. But it's a very good sign of things to come, because they are coming down to the wire with guys that are not nearly as experienced as they've had in the past. And these young guys are keeping up with veteran teams. So I think that's ultimately what changed for me. I think also, I know this is like feeding a dead horse, but we talk about Adalberto Mondesi and what we expect from him. At the beginning of the season, I bought into the fact that he's going to be a superstar, that he just needs time. Maybe if he has a new manager who can get into his head and kind of work with him mentally, he's going to be this breakout shortstop and he's going to be awesome at the plate. We just haven't seen that yet. And whether that's mental, whether that's physical, I don't know. But I think my expectations have changed for him in that he's not going to be this superstar. Is he going to be a really solid speedster and player for your team moving forward? Yes, but don't expect him to be the guy that's going to change games like a Whit Merrifield or someone that your entire franchise can build around. He's just got to be a key cog and a key piece in this Royals team moving forward.